Hey, welcome back to Mike's road trip up to the Sequoia National Park. This is October 2017. We left from Southern California and we're actually driving up I-95 to Route 99 to Route 65. Here you can see Route 65 and it even says right there Sequoia National Park, Porterville. So we got onto Route 65 and we drove north. The entire trip is about 250 miles from Southern California, so it is quite a drive. As you can see here, we're driving up north on 65. Now we're on Route 198 heading into Three Rivers. Alright, so here we're heading towards Three Rivers and the radio cuts out because we're so far into the mountains already that we're not getting any reception. And here is the entrance to get into the park. It is a $30 paid entrance. And there you can see there's the entrance and then there's the route that we took, the yellow line there. And this is called the climb. This particular part of the drive, I call this part the climb because it's very steep and it connects the lower valley up to the higher part of the actual reserve, or the park, I should say. And in the climb, when we were driving, we actually saw a couple of deer, a doe and her 3 fawns. So that was really nice. Now, we drove a little further up the climb and we got to a vista viewpoint. And this is Morro Rock. Right there, you're looking at Morro Rock. And across the way, you're going to see, right there, that's Castle Rock. Okay, so you just saw Morro Rock and Castle Rock. And the reason, I'll tell you why that's important in a second here. But here's Giant Forest Museum. We drove further. We got to Giant Forest Museum. Now, this particular area of the national park is called Giant Forest. And this is an area that has some of the most dense population of these great sequoia pine trees. These great sequoia pine trees are about 250 to 350 feet tall. They weigh 6,000 tons, okay? So they weigh about the same, one tree weighs about the same as about 40 great blue whale so they're very large trees. Anyways, the museum talks about all the information. Now we're heading to More Rock. I was showing you down on the vista that I was showing you some pictures of More Rock, and here, this is the actual road that you take to get to More Rock. And coming up here, you're going to see the steps that you actually have to climb up to More Rock. Okay, so those are the steps you take. You climb up More Rock and you get to the very top. Okay, so right across there, I don't know if you noticed, a little bit to the left, that's Castle Rock, and then down there, that's the road, the vista of the vantage point that I was showing you earlier. There's Castle Rock straight ahead, a little bit to the left. Okay, and I'll just show you right there. So there you can see Castle Rock on the left, and there's Morro Rock right there. And very close to Morro Rock is Tunnel Log. All right, so we drove from Morro Rock to Tunnel Log, and that's Tunnel Log right there, as you can see. Drive underneath Tunnel Log. And then after Tunnel Log, it's a short drive to Crescent Meadow. And as you can see right there, that's a popular destination for people to go picnic and take a look at Crescent Meadow. And this particular part of the park is called Giant Forest. So we're all, Morro Rock, Crescent Meadow, and Tunnel Log are all within Giant Forest. Okay, this is a particular part of the park that is a very heavily traveled area for, you know, tourists and people that come up to the park. It's a destination for people to go. So a lot of people go to those 3 points. Now, if you drive further into the park, you're going to find Lodgepole, okay, and Lodgepole Welcome Center is actually, as you can see there, they've got shops, they've got restrooms, they've got showers, and here, this is called Stoney Creek Village, and you can get coffee and gas, and they even have Wi-Fi there, so a couple of amenities there. Now, Big Baldy is a mountain, and underneath Big Baldy, there's all kinds of camping spots, and there's a lot to do around this particular mountain. So we actually drove all the way to the very top of Big Baldy. And, you know, it's a pretty rough dirt road, but the truck was able to handle it no problem. So we got up to the top of Big Baldy, and there's actually a huge broadcasting station or some kind of radio antenna system up there. So that was definitely very interesting. On our way down, it was just beautiful scenery. As you can see, lots of trees. I did see a couple of deer, but I wasn't able to catch them on camera. There's a nice meadow right there. And here's a camping spot halfway down Big Baldy where I stopped to camp at. All right, so from Big Baldy, I want to show you Big Meadows. Okay, so Big Meadows, there's the sign for Big Meadows. And Big Meadows is actually a really nice area. There's not just the meadows, but there's this whole route right here leads to camping sites. Now that's a ranger station, or I don't know, some kind of house for the rangers or the park rangers to stay at when they're up in the area. And here's actually Big Meadows. Unfortunately, because this was October, so it was early fall, late summer, the grass is not green, but I've actually seen pictures of this exact meadow with lush green grass, so I'm gonna have to stop by there in the springtime and get some photos of that. Okay, so we headed towards Hume Lake. Okay, I'm just this particular video, I'm just showing you highlights of the destinations and the distance and the road and the distance between each destination, so you can get an idea of how far things were. Now this is Hume Lake. This was a really popular part of the park. As you can see, they've got full structures, they've got bars, restaurants, they have a gas station, all kinds of amenities. There's a nice pavilion there if you want to go have a lunch and maybe even an outdoor cafe. You can rent some boats and get out on the lake. It was beautifully well kept. Beautiful area there. Now, as you can see, this is Route 180, the descent into Kings Canyon. And the reason why I'm showing you this part of the actual drive is just to give you an idea of how far you're actually driving. It's quite amazing, and it doesn't, even this video doesn't do justice to how much driving you have to do along these mountainous canyon roads to get from Sequoia National Park into Kings Canyon. And this drive shows you the drive that we took to get into Kings Canyon. As I got down to the bottom by the river, I wanted to stop, and first thing, as soon as I actually got off the road and actually down at the same height as the river, I pulled over and I got some shots of the river. And I've seen actual video of this exact river right here running much heavier. This was late fall, so obviously all the snow had melted and there was no rain over the summertime. But even with this flow, it's got a bluish green color to the river, and I saw a lot of people doing fishing along the river. So there's all kinds of activities to do. And look at how deep you are into the canyon. I mean, this canyon is quite deep. Okay, so now from that point, we drove all the way along the canyon basin, along Kings River. Okay, and I'm going to show you a couple spots here. Now, this is Kings River to the right. And as you can see, there's bluish green color. It was a very nice looking river. No pollution whatsoever. No trash, no telephone poles, no man-made structures. Other than what you see on the road, everything is pretty much pristine nature. So, okay, so here we drove to Roaring River. Okay, now this river is called Roaring River. It's a small offshoot that feeds into the Kings River. And this nice sign here kind of explains where you are. All right, so there you are. It says, "You are here, Roaring River Falls." And it's actually, they made a really nice path too. It was very well laid out. The path is very nice and clean and accessible. And I've actually, again, I've seen video of this river having much more flow and much more roaring, if you will. Okay, so we drove from Roaring River all the way to, it's called Rhodes End and Peppermint Station. And again, it's quite a drive, at least 5 to 10 miles from Roaring River to this destination here. And there's all kinds of stops on the way. I'm just showing you some of the highlights to give you an idea of how much driving there is to actually get all the way down into the very bottom of Kings Canyon. And, you know, and then obviously you have to drive out. So it was definitely an adventure. Lots of stuff to see. I didn't even cover really 10% of everything that I saw on the entire trip. And this is the end of the road. You can actually go beyond here on hiking. You can backpack way out into the wilderness. There's a huge meadow and river basin, and you can go, you know, 10-20 miles into the wilderness where it's not vehicle accessible. So that was that, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that.